So guys, these were the tough words of Daniel Bwala when he was asked to score Tinubu's government after 7 to 8 months in office. Take a look at this.
Things that happen to the common man in Nigeria. Immediately the prices of items in the market went up. And by November last month, the food inflation is about 34.2%. The general inflation is 28.2%. This was the result of the removal of subsidy. Now, so transportation has gone up, food has gone up. Even in the private sector, rather than increasing the salary of people, they had to retrench a lot of them in order to compete. So Nigerians actually went down because their income has not gone up. Meanwhile, the cost of living has gone up. Then they floated the naira, which now affected 90% of the youth, especially those who are schooling. They could no longer access forex at the official rate, and wherever they were, immediately the value of whatever they had for schooling went down to 30%. This is fact. So whether you like President Tinubu or you don't like him, these facts cannot change.
So he also went further to say other things like the lack of transparency in this government. Like in the days of Buhari never accounted to Nigerians all the Abacha loots that were returned to Nigeria, how they managed all the money that they borrowed and all that. The same thing is happening in this current administration. They are hiding a lot from the Nigerian people. So I'm going to allow you to listen to all the things that Daniel Bwala said about Tinubu's government. Just listen further.
In the past 8 years, before these 7 months, Nigerians had to endure the leadership and administration of All Progressives Congress, in which they were told to be hopeful and to be patient, and they waited for 8 years and have not seen anything. Now we are hearing New Year, Christmas messaging, telling Nigerians to be patient, and to me that is a bad message. A bad message because, one, in the whole of this world, apart from the United States of America, I read an article somewhere, there is no any other country that defeated or is defeating the spirit of the Nigerian people in terms of patriotism in every facet of their lives. When you look at science and technology, you look at Nigerians at the top. When you look at entertainment, you see Burna Boy, Davido, Wizkid, you see them up ahead. If you look at education, you see the records Nigerians are breaking everywhere. Even in the administration of justice, judges in civilized worlds are coming. People in the hierarchy of power in government around the world. And this is the best way citizens can demonstrate their patriotism, that they have the willingness to work, and that if the opportunities are created, they will present their country in the big brightest of the light. What is actually left is the responsibility of the government, sadly. So all of this speech about Nigeria should be patient is what the government needs to be speaking to itself. Why? Because if you look at the last 7-8 months, Nigerians were thrown into deeper stress, deeper problems. And let me even tell you, last week, there was an annual program in Yaba where the psychiatric hospital in Yaba reported over 100% intake of people with mental problems. This is due to hardship. You have seen in the last 7 months how people are jumping to the lagoons, how people are shooting and killing themselves because of the hopelessness of the situation that Nigerians have gone into. Two things accounted for that. Some of the problems President Tinubu did not create, right? Nigerians knew it. That's why in the election they were looking for solution. He came up with the message that he's going to renew their hope. Whatever happens, he became the president of Nigeria. What Nigerians expected was to begin to see measures, steps, decisions, and actions that will commence the amelioration of the hardship that they were confronted. Instead, the government came up with two policies that created the mess that we're in. One is the policy of removal of subsidy, and two, the floating of the naira. These two policies are not bad in themselves, but they were ill-timed and ill-executed without a thorough and broad-based plan to cushion the effect. Because when the subsidy was removed, these are the things that happened to the common man in Nigeria. Immediately, the prices of items in the market went up. And by November last month, the food inflation is about 34.2%. The general inflation is 28.2%. This was the result of the removal of subsidy. Now, so transportation has gone up, food has gone up. Even in the private sector, rather than increasing the salary of people, they had to retrench a lot of them in order to compete. So Nigerians actually went down because their income has not gone up. Meanwhile, the cost of living has gone up. Then they floated the naira, which now affected 90% of the youth, especially those who are schooling. They could no longer access Forex at the official rate. And wherever they were, immediately the value of whatever they had for schooling went down to 30%. This is fact. So whether you like President Tinubu or you don't like him, these facts cannot change. These facts are happening. And what is the posture of government that is asking for patience? Extravagancy, mismanagement, and lack of accountability. I don't need to go further, but for you to look at the trip to Dubai is one of them. For you to look at the splashing of the money to buy SUV for legislators is another. You don't see it anywhere in the world. You also look at the way and manner in which recovered money from looters are not accounted to the Nigerian people. Okay. These are facts. These are the things confronting us as a country. So how do Nigerians come in to be patient when Nigerians for the past 8 years and 8 months have actually demonstrated patience? That's why there are no people on the street, no riot, no breaking of law and order. What more can you ask for the Nigerian people?
Every time an administration comes, they'll say, we need to endure a bit, it's going to get better. When will Nigerians ever see a better tomorrow?
So that is the good question that I think is in the mind of an average Nigerian, especially if you're on social media. And let me clarify some point. You see, when people talk about be patient and wait, you have to look at the time frame within which the public officer himself is expected to execute his work. The president has just been voted into a term of 4 years. He's 8 months into the term, which constitutes 31.8% of the total time that he has. He has less than 70% of the time in government. When is that going to happen? 2, when President Buhari took over in 2015, it was the same language. Nigerians patiently followed. Today, tomorrow, they finish the first term, they enter the second term. When there is a fundamental problem with policy, time is irrelevant. 30 years, it cannot work. Most economics in Nigeria, and I'm glad Mr. Onje is an economist, let him challenge it. You look at budget, Price Water Cuba, you look at Rwani, most economics that I have listened to, the analysis on the budget of the president, with which he's expected to execute the agenda, they have faltered it flat out. Now, let me tell you this. The policy that you said you want to change. Now, for the economics, talk about long-term and short-term. Every planning has 3 stages: immediate, mid-term, and long-term. What Nigerian people are crying because of this policy direction are matters that fall within the immediate, which is called intervention. For example, when you took out fuel subsidy, Nigerian people knew that you are going to be making about 9 trillion every month just by not giving the subsidy. And the president said the reason why he was taking out the subsidy is because the subsidy had always ended in the pockets of few people. He wanted Nigerian people to feel the impact. So what happens to the 9 trillion naira? For the past 8 months that they took out the subsidy, have you seen them providing cushioning effect that impact on those consequences of those policies? Because the consequences affect transportation, it affected feeding, healthcare, it affected every facet of life. Now, apart from the 2 billion given to the governors, for which most of them gave to their cronies and people, some people brought religious inclination into it, what more has the government done that generated the impact? There are some places who apply this kind of economic model. They will tell you when you do that, because you already saved money, not you are looking for money coming, you ought to have increased the salaries of workers by, say, if for transportation, by removing subsidy, an average worker is going to spend extra 15,000 in a month. Then maybe in feeding, because of rises of items, it's going to spend extra 5,000, meaning 20. You look at other areas, you put them together, impact it into a salary. Do you need a long term to be able to do that? Secondly, they said the reason they are saving the money is so they can invest in infrastructure. In the past 8 months, tell me one infrastructure project that was laid on ground. Meanwhile, every month we're saving 9 trillion. This is in addition to the multiples of millions in naira, in pound, in dollars that have been recovered from looters and people who looted the treasury in the last administration. Tell me one program on ground that has impacted on the lives of the common people. There is no healthcare improvement in any capacity. So when you talk about long-term plan, you are talking, let's say, for example, if you are constructing a road from Lagos to Ibadan, you will say it is going to take 2 years before it will construct. I think people should see construction people on the side. Now, what about those areas for which the money has already been saved and you need to then release it to impact? In fact, even the planning and the implementation of these policies have been faulted. Let me take you to just the one of 4 days ago. They gave out subsidy to people traveling for Christmas, Lagos, blah, 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 blah. Have you seen the implementation? Less than 7% got impacted by that. A lot of people didn't get the money. Didn't get to access it. Up till the day that the implementation was to start, these same bosses and companies that are saying, we're still giving it at the already. So then will come a time where we'll interrogate implementation. But I am talking about intervention. Intervention is not a mid-term. Intervention is not a long-term. Intervention is immediate. What is the plan and the policy of the government? Meanwhile, why I say that Nigerian people are more patient than the politicians is that, meanwhile, on the part of government, look at the trip to Dubai and look at how much waste that was made. The average SUV for the lawmaker that costs about 150 or 60 million. You have 3 senators, for example, in a state. If you multiply 160 by 3 and devote this money to the 3 constituency in that state, you can imagine how much it will go. Nobody's looking at that. The cost of government has been enlarged and increased. So we see Nigerians saying we have seen the movie before. We know where we're coming from. We want to see deliverables. We are tired of English, mathematics, economics, science, and technology. We want to see practical, doable. And the government needs to start by conducting itself. Most of the people appointed by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu have no competence, have no capacity, have no foresight. Only less than 5% of his ministers are actually working.
Yeah, Mr. Bola, we're going to come to.
So, guys, you can see that this country is finished under these politicians. They grab power, but they don't even know how to use it. That is even the funniest aspect of all this. We are just in God's hands, so honestly, Nigerians, these people, they don't know what to do with the power they have in their hands. And that is it. All blame goes to INEC and also to the judiciary. So, guys, you have heard it for yourself. As it stands now, this government is like as if they are just confused. They don't even know where to start and where not to start. Honestly, look at everything in Nigeria is turning upside down. The ordinary man cannot survive. The prices of things are skyrocketing on a daily note. The value of naira keeps dropping. I think this government don't even have any idea on what to do. And now, as usual, it's usual with the APC, they always showcase their pride because they can't even run to people that they know can help them to say, please come to our rescue. They can't. Honestly, this is very, very shameful that these people snatched this power, but they don't know how to use it. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell. Thank you.